Welcome to Strange Gossip. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Taylor, and this is going to be like your friend's take on the weird.
Because we're tired of real-life problems and want to talk about spooky shit.
Yeah, welcome to the episode. It's the general weird episode, so we're going to get a little bit funky.
Little bit funky. I'm so excited. I feel like I know nothing about your topic this week. Normally, ahead of time, we have ideas, and I have absolutely no idea.
Same. I have like no idea about yours. I actually didn't really know until we started researching last week what I was going to get into. And then I had a whole different story, and I was like, no, this is more of like an uncomfy truth.
Ooh, okay.
So I had to like switch gears and find my general weird. But I think I found a really good general weird this week.
I'm so excited. And you start us off. You go first.
Well, first of all, current events, anything?
Oh my gosh, yes. How could I forget? I literally sent you an article.
I thought, I was like, I feel like I remember the robots.
Yes, there's something so scary about AI robots taking over the world. I don't know if it's because when we were younger, there was so many AI robots taking over the world movies. Like iRobot was really popular. There was like another really big one that I was trying to remember what it was today.
I don't know why my brain went to like WALL-E.
WALL-E.
He was cute.
So cute. I love the idea of WALL-E being terrifying.
Yes.
So maybe WALL-E's actually pro-robot. Okay. But there is a bunch of articles. This is just breaking news that a Tesla engineer was attacked by one of their robots in 2021.
Crazy.
Which is unreal. So,
well, did you look into actually, I'll ask you after you go through like the details. Because I was like, I have questions.
Oh, okay. And hopefully I have answers. But according to the injury report, a robot designed to move aluminum car parts pinned an engineer against a surface and dug its metal claws into his back and arm. After another worker hit the emergency stop button, the attacked engineer made his way out of the robot's grip, leaving a trail of blood behind him. The attack occurred while the engineer was programming software for two disabled Tesla robots nearby, which like completely sounds like the beginning of like an artificial intelligence movie. Like it sounds sci-fi. It
sounds like the dude just wrote a bad line of code. And you know what? That's like...
And it like completely attacked him.
Yeah.
Well, so Elon Musk. Oh, wait, first, before we actually get into the updates, what are your questions? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I was just wondering, like, because originally when you sent the article, it didn't say that he was programming. It was just like, he just like got attacked. And I'm like, well, did he get in the way of the robot? Yeah. Or like, did the robot truly come after him? It just seems so strange.
For sure. And I feel like it sounds very sci-fi. It kind of is made to feel like this guy was minding his own business and then this humanoid humanoid robot like ran and attacked him is like kind of, well, apparently so Tesla is currently working on humanoid AI robots. I think it's, what is it called? The Optimus project. Okay. So that's kind of happening currently. So a lot of people that are reporting on this incident now are using photos of the humanoid robot when actually this was like a robotic arm from like a couple years ago. Which,
by the way, is super common in car manufacturing. Like almost all car manufacturers use it.
Yes, exactly. Well, so Elon Musk chimed in on and said that the media was completely taking it out of, like just blowing it out of the water. And it is a robot arm that could be found in all factories. So it's like really something that he's like, hey, I know there's a lot of conversation happening about the Optimus projects. This is absolutely not the same thing. This is like, unfortunately, this kind of malfunctioned, wrong place, wrong time. And not to like discredit that guy got very injured. Like obviously he did. But I think the hype around his new artificial intelligence robot is kind of getting mixed up in this incident from 2021.
I feel like you could look at any car manufacturer and they probably have cases of people just,
absolutely
getting in the way or writing wrong code, bud. Come on.
Yeah, it happens.
Well, actually, I don't know if he's coding them. I don't know. That would be interesting. Like, I feel like he was programming them. That's what you said?
Yes, he was apparently for another robot nearby. Like he was doing something about the programming nearby, which that sounds like a like a sci-fi, like one robot gets protective of the other. Don't touch my
friend, bud.
Exactly. I think that's why it sounds so like out of a movie. But it really is like a robot that can be found in all factories. Like it was a very common thing. And Elon Musk was very like, hey, like the media is really just taking this. too
that
far.
poor guy, though. That sounds terrible.
I feel like Elon Musk is kind of having a bad moment. Like, didn't they just recall like 2 million Teslas too? Like something's
dude,
like
I don't
crazy.
Here's the thing. I was like looking into the EV market at one point, and then I've just heard like horror stories of like fender benders, and then all your car doors lock and you can't get out, and then your car explodes. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
My mom's coworker literally had that happen. She got in a fender bender. Her car doors locked. Couldn't get out. They finally opened. She got out. Her car like literally combust.
Yeah, it feels a little too soon. I feel like there's just not enough.
No. Well, I mean, honestly, like gasoline cars can do the same thing. But if you think of a big lithium battery, like,
I don't know. That's also so scary
bud.
too. I remember like David was talking about getting a Tesla once, and then I was actually talking to Amanda, shout out, friend of the pod.
Hey.
And she was like, absolutely not, do not get a Tesla. And this was like a couple of years ago. And I just want to shout out Amanda. She really knew what was up.
Keeping us true. Thanks, Amanda.
Seriously. But that's really all I have for current events was just this AI robots. Oh, but I will say, if you look up the Optimus Prime project, it's a little crazy. Like, I hadn't really looked into it before.
There's crazy stuff.
We're not far away from it being pretty, like give it 10 years.
So I work at a company, I'm just going to say, I work at Axon. Mm-hmm. So we make like tasers and body cameras and stuff for the police force. And we have this little like robot dog that literally is our security guard, and it roams the outside building. I work remotely, but it's at like our headquarters in Arizona, and it'll roam the building. And I remember one day someone was like, hey, there's like a wild boar in the parking lot, like some crazy shit in like our general Slack. And I was like cracking up, and people were like, oh, is the robot dog going to go deal with it?
Did he?
I don't know. That's the sad part about working remote. I don't know what the drama was.
Fair.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like, and then they were thinking like, oh, like police canines, like that could be something that gets implemented at some point.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I know a lot of people are afraid. The AI conversation right now is happening a lot about creativity and who owns the rights. And like, those are very valid conversations. I feel like AI is the Wild West at the moment. Yeah. But I will also say, like, I think I told you this story. I might have even shared it on the pod, so I'll edit it out if I did. But there's this story of this guy whose dog came down with like some illness, took the dog to the vet. The vet wasn't really quite sure, and then said the dog had this one illness. So they were doing this treatment to figure it out, but the dog wasn't getting better, was like, if anything, getting worse. Yeah. So this guy, desperate, like went onto an AI chat and wrote down all of the symptoms that his dog had. And then AI was like, well, we're not doctors. We can't say officially, but we think your dog has this, which was a completely different diagnosis. So he took that diagnosis back to the vet, and the vet was like, oh my God, that's exactly what it is. And the dog got better. They put the dog on the right path, and the dog got better. So I'm like, okay, AI, I think, does have a place in bettering society, you know.
Sure.
But
it's a tricky line. It's an interesting, I mean, specifically with my company, it's like, you're going to introduce AI to the police force. Like, you got to make sure that that's actually done properly, because there's so many different things.
Yeah. What does that look like? That's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right. Taylor, do you have any current topics?
I don't. One of my coworkers sent me a video. She's like, oh my God, look at these aliens. And it looked like drones. I'll put the video in here, so I'll send it to you. But I'm pretty sure they're drones.
Okay.
But I don't know. You never know. They're just like big red things. And she's like, they looked bigger than drones. It was just weird. It was in Colorado. So shout out Colorado peeps from our prior episode. At least you have aliens now.
Better than, oh my gosh. I can't stop thinking about the funeral home. I just like,
I know.
Oh man. Anyway.
Yeah. But that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. I'm excited to see the video.
Yeah. Okay, but this actually ties back into a little bit of, or my topic for today, not my current topic, my actual topic, might tie back into the meat shower in a way.
Ooh, okay.
We're talking about, is the sky alive? Yeah, so there's some people out here, it's giving me a little bit flat earth, but we're going to get into it. There's some people.
Regardless, so excited.
There's a whole thing about that, like basically like sea creatures or types of sea creatures, not necessarily like actual sea creatures, but they're saying that UFOs might just actually be living organisms that we're seeing that live in the sky, like sky whales. Have you heard of the sky whale phenomenon?
No.
Okay, there's this whole thing, but mostly it's like jellyfish-like creatures live in our atmosphere.
Have you seen the movie Nope? Is it like that?
It's similar. It's like, it's very Nope vibes.
Okay.
Very Nope, flat earth vibes. It's very generally weird today. I figured what we'll do, we're just going to go through the livingsky.com and then go through The Sky is Alive. And they have all of their like theories and their reasoning for believing it. So we're just going to kind of go through. There's a ton of pictures. So if you aren't watching this episode, definitely recommend you watch on Spotify or YouTube, just so you get the full effect, because definitely some interesting stuff.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have your link open?
I do.
Okay, so it starts off, the sky is alive. Are many UFOs atmospheric creatures? Great. The first thing they show is this kind of like, I don't know, that looks like a
jellyfish?
A jellyfish to me, but in Denmark in 1974. First of all, great picture for 1974, not gonna lie.
For real, where was this for like Mothman? Like
for real. Like, I'm sorry. But it says the number and variety of UFO reports have long puzzled experts. Could the answer be simple yet wondrous as life itself? In 1988, a young astronomy buff saw a weird object pulsing through the London sky. She alerted police, who also saw the flying object and described it as a jellyfish. I don't know. It goes on to say, we live at the bottom of an ocean of air. The atmosphere that surrounds us contains all the resources needed to support life. Tons of water in many forms move through the sky at all levels. Our atmosphere is a habitat. Earth's liquid oceans teem with more life than we can imagine. A teaspoon of the ocean water may contain more than 1 million bacteria and 100 million viruses. Fucking gross. Some of Earth's biggest and fastest animals live in the sea. All I can think about when I read that is like how much salt water I swallowed as a child.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to go. Nope.
Like for real. That picture, I swallowed those. That's terrifying.
And also to go into this, I bought, because living in a city, I was super worried about air quality. So I bought an air filter. And
I have that, yeah.
Yeah.
The amount of stuff that comes out, yeah.
Ooh, that. Oh, but I not just an air filter. I bought a reader, so it tells me like in my house
how good your air quality is.
And I've become a little obsessed with it. I feel like it's my like weird adult. You know, when you're like older,
you're just checking it all the time.
All the time. I have my like Alexa alerts that set me to like when thankfully our air quality is pretty good. I thought like, oh, for sure Los Angeles, it's gonna be terrible, but I'm like, man, the amount of like particle matter and things like I see it.
It's crazy. I thought you were gonna say you bought sea monkeys for a second.
I wish.
Getting a little excited. Anyway.
Okay, good to know. Putting that on my Taylor birthday list.
There you go. What if a wide range of creatures moves through the sky for part of their lives? We might see a huge variety of objects at all levels of the atmosphere. Objects like UFOs, mysterious lights, ball lightning, earthquake lights, which I haven't heard of, the transient luminous events. The number and variety of unexplained atmospheric phenomenon surpasses our comprehension. In Illinois, in 1963, a glowing object followed a young man and his date as they drove to her parents' house. They ran inside. Her parents saw the object, and then it disappeared. When the man left to drive home, it reappeared. His terrified parents watched him dash from the car as the object hovered overhead. It had followed him for almost an hour. Grr. That's a stalker.
I like that my brain is like, what if it's a cryptid? And I'm like, girl, what?
Mine's like, is it a drone? But 1963, not a drone.
Definitely not. I mean, it sounds like lightning, or like ball lightning looks like such a little.
For an hour.
And it's weird.
Following, that's kind of bizarre. From like one house to the next.
Like, okay, I should not do that.
Is he electrically charged?
Yeah, like is it following the car? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. A strong body of evidence suggests another possibility, a wide variety of aerial creatures, a biology of the sky. I love how they're selling this.
I know.
UFO historians know Kenneth Arnold's seminal 1947 flying saucer sighting, his sketch of the objects he saw in 1974. I mean, interesting.
That's giving manta ray for sure.
It's giving a little bit of like a a something. Couldn't tell you. Arnold studied UFOs the rest of his life, so obviously this really impacted him, and has collected numerous stories from pilots. He concluded that UFOs are living things, fauna of the atmosphere. One pilot told Arnold that he was approaching in flight by what he called a ray fish, larger than his plane, the edges of its wings rippling like those of a manta ray. Oh, you were right, manta ray. The U.S. Air Force, in its first study of UFOs in 1949, said many acted more like animals than anything else.
I love that. I love that idea.
I mean,
it is fun.
Here's the thing. We'll get into this after, but the UFOs that I've seen, they're not animals, bro. They're straight up crafts, but that's okay. We'll get into it.
Like, it is definitely giving flat Earth, but it's also just like,
but it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
Here are 10 ways UFOs and other unexplained aerial phenomenon resemble marine invertebrates.
I'm excited for this.
So we're going to get into the 10 parallels between the UFOs and the marine invertebrates. So the first is appearance. UFOs have been reported in countless numbers, varieties, and sizes, from tiny to enormous. Day and night sightings seem to describe two common shapes, saucers and rockets or cigars. Saucer-shaped jellyfish and rocket-shaped squid are some of the most successful marine invertebrates. And so we've got some pictures from California in 1957 and then Italy in 2001. That thing looks like a freaking amoeba.
Yeah, that's I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Like, what is that, the 2001?
I'm kind of disappointed that it looks like the same, if not worse quality of like the 1960s. But that's all right.
It just kind of looks like a duck face.
Okay, kind of does.
With like a starfish butt.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I want to know like how big that is.
Yeah. Where? I know people are just taking these photos and throwing them on the internet, but where's the size? Where's the model? Where's the ruler?
Yeah. Give me an idea. Give me an idea of the scale, please.
Yeah, like, is this the size of like, is this going to fit a one alien, or is this going to fit like a bunch?
They're saying that is the alien, girlfriend. They're saying
okay,
that
sorry, you're right. Not craft, my bad.
Not craft, body.
Okay, but to be fair, yeah, like, are those tentacles like helicopter? I am really caught up on this one photo. We got to move on.
Yeah, okay. People report UFOs like parachutes, ice cream cones, and shuttlecocks. Witnesses, I'm like a child, I'm like shuttlecocks. Witness drawings show an organic-looking object. Pilots and police describe giant flying jellyfish. For 2 nights in 1891, residents of Crawfordsville, Indiana, watched a bellowing, pulsing, wheezing monster in the sky above their town. Its glowing red eye flashed as it seemed to struggle. All who watched it felt it was alive. So now we're moving into bioluminescence as the second thing. So marine invertebrates use a variety of luminescent methods. Some harbor symbolic glowing bacteria. Some generate chemical reactions from brilliant flashes. They are masters of living light. I do love bioluminescence, so it's one of my faves. So here's a bioluminescent jellyfish. That squid is going full on out. Love it for you, sir. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It also kind of like, if you were to like, if I'm to go down the rabbit hole with this one.
And put it in the sky?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is the Sky Lobster episode.
What sky lobster?
Remember when we were talking about the weird UFO sightings we saw?
Oh yeah, but we thought, oh my god!
And then there was we were like, these are lobster buoys.
They're
and
lobster
then I said,
lights.
why are they sky lobster hunting? This is the Sky Lobster episode.
I'm telling you, do.
It all goes back.
I swear to God, we have all the answers.
Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. Okay.
They show displays of light beyond what we can see or even perceive. UFOs seem to use light singly or in great numbers to hunt, attract, warn, and scare, just like bioluminescent creatures of the sea. Some UFO witnesses say they can't even describe the colors they have seen. That's a picture from Canada in 1956.
Oh, that's huge.
China, girlfriend, what is that? 2009. And then these ones are pretty cool. I don't know, the comparison of a jellyfish to a UFO photographed over Scotland in 1997. Interesting. I mean, I see the semblance. I see what they're getting at.
For sure. I see the saucer jellyfish comparison for sure.
In 1975, a former policeman drove his car on the road to a French village. A strange glowing dish-shaped object glided across the field towards him. Suddenly, it reared up, flashing a blinding light, brighter than the sun. The object latched onto and tried to lift his car. He went over the road and the object left. Luckily, though shaken, he escaped. Number 3, movement. Jellyfish are living helicopters. They create their own fluid vortex to ride. UFOs move like marine organisms. Now we have 4, individual behavior. Many witnesses say UFOs seem to act with purpose. Some show curiosity about people and vehicles. Many seem to show intelligence. In 1976, a professional camera plane flew alongside the streamlined Concorde to film a commercial. Suddenly, a pulsing blob raced up to the Concorde. It flew alongside it for a few moments, seeming to peer into the windows, then raced effortlessly away. Terrible photo. How are you filming a commercial with that? Perhaps instead of having intelligent pilots, the creatures themselves are smart, perhaps smarter than we can imagine. So now, second, we have group behavior. Second, girl. 5. We can't count. I don't know. Well, you could. Okay, I rewatched that video of you like having the problem with the counting, and I was like, I'm a dum-dum because you definitely did 5, and I just was not getting it.
There was another one,
maybe
too.
I can't count.
Oh, you're fine. There was another one, too, where I quickly said the answer to something, and then I was like, is that the right math? And then later I was like, Catherine, you're good. Stop.
We're okay.
We're fine. We got this. We got this
God.
more than we think.
That's so funny. Okay, so 5 is the group behavior. Like marine invertebrates, UFOs seem to appear in groups and interact with each other. Here's a picture from 3 days in 1950, an armada of unexplained flying objects passing through the sky over Farmington, New Mexico. Thousands of objects seemed to play and fight with each other as they passed overhead. Air Force investigators sourced the town for every picture taken by residents. One resident who took a picture was out of town, so his picture survives.
Oh, conspiracy.
That is weird that the government would come in and take all the photos.
I mean, that's the best. That's like the best. The Men in Black coming into any story and stealing all the evidence is so part of, like, I almost feel, and we talked about this in the Bell Witch episode, where you almost need like certain key components to have a good lore or like a good conspiracy. And like the Men in Black coming in and taking all of the evidence is for sure in that lineup. Is for sure.
Yeah, no, it's like top 5.
Like for sure. You have to have like a catchy name, Men in Black. Like, how to make a conspiracy stick for real.
Classic. All right, so now we're getting into 6, life cycles and populations. UFOs often appear in waves, flaps, and armadas. Am I saying that right? Armadas?
Armada. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. Rapidly rising in number. This resembles invertebrate populations that blossom when living conditions turn favorable. All right, we're moving on to 7, feeding and hunting. Some jellyfish are farmers, hosting photosynthetic algae. However, most jellyfish and squid are high-level predators that use a variety of hunting techniques. UFOs seem to attack each other, target similar or different UFOs. They seem to attack animals. Thousands of reports of cattle mutilations describing strange lights hovering over the fields of the victims. Dead animals and even people are unexplainably found in the tops of tall trees. I have never heard of a person being found in the top of a tall tree.
Yeah, I can't think of a story. But it's also giving very Nope. Like, I feel like Nope is very inspired by this.
They're really giving us something, you know? They're really selling the story, which I commend them. You know, it is kind of weird. Like, it is a little bit funky. It's like we'll get into our thoughts.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we got to at least get to 10, and then we can give our thoughts.
For sure.
Okay, so they also say UFOs attack vehicles. Some have followed cars for miles, bumping against them, flashing bright lights. In 1988, a mother and her 3 sons drove frantically along an Australia desert highway. A glowing object landed with a thump on the top of their moving car. It whooshed a foul smell like decomposing flesh. Ugh. The mother reached out her window and touched its spongy body. Why the fuck would you do that? Ooh. Then the object lifted their car right off the ground. Luckily for the family, it dropped the car, bursting a tire.
Wow.
Interesting. Would not touch it if it smelled like that.
What is wrong with people? It's like
people are like, I'm going to touch it. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to get high off of it.
That's so true. I just do not trust the instincts of humans and undiscovered things.
They would not survive on their own. They'd be eating the poisonous berries. I guarantee it.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, they say UFOs some of them have attacked and destroyed even planes. So there's a little expert in here. It says 1978, a young Australian pilot in his small plane above Tasmanian Strait radioed air controllers that the UFO seemed to be toying with him. It raced back and forth, then hovered right above him. Just before his radio went silent, he said, "It's hovering and it's not an aircraft." And it says his plane vanished after a loud metallic noise.
Oh, I've heard of that story before. I remember the metallic noise.
He got eaten by a jellyfish.
Sky jellyfish. Sky lobsters.
Why would it be? Why would the jellyfish be metallic? Oh, maybe because the plane was metallic. I don't know.
Yeah, like the crunch.
Like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you do that again?
It wasn't as good the second time. It was so much better the first.
It was very you nailed that.
It was great. Meowing? Who? Sucking noises? Oh, I don't.
Oh my God, Tim, you know what? Walked right into that. Aliens eating plane noises. Aliens eating
it's not an alien. It's an earthly jellyfish.
This story is off the rails. This is so funny. Oh my God.
Okay. All right.
Sky jellyfish eating a plane noises.
I've nailed it. So tales of hunting UFOs may come from lucky witnesses that got away. Some people don't unscathed. Number 8, effects on humans. I'm crying. Invertebrates hunt with some of the strongest neurotoxins and digestive compounds known. They may inject toxins into the fluid environment. They may inject directly using millions of stingers or thousands of tentacles. Fine jellyfish tentacles can extend many times farther than the animal's main body. One species' tentacles can cover a basketball court. That's insane. People show a range of symptoms when exposed to invertebrate toxins, depending on the organism and the extent of the exposure. Mild physical symptoms include eye irritation and damage, redness and swelling of the skin, whereas more severe physical symptoms include blistering and peeling of skin, heart damage, including collapse and arrest, lung damage and breathing problems, nausea and vomiting, kidney damage, muscle damage, including destruction of skeletal muscles and destruction of red blood cells. There's also neurological symptoms that are associated, so disruption of autonomic nervous system, loss of coordination, tingling or numbness, paralysis, headache, agitation and panic, seizures, stupor or coma, or neuropsychiatric disturbances such as depression, apathy, and hallucinations. Sounds like a terrible time.
Yeah.
Have you been stung by a jellyfish?
I've gotten stung by a Portuguese man-o-war, and that sucked.
I remember you telling me about that.
Sucked. I was in 8th grade.
Those are gnarly.
And it was dying, thankfully.
Good.
even though it was still so painful. We were at S-Turns, like the beach right at S-Turns. Mm-hmm. And I was with some friends. It was the day before 8th grade. And, it's like the worst time of anyone's life is middle school. And so it's the day before 8th grade, and we're at the beach, and I'm just swimming along in super shallow water. Like, when you're just kind of hovering above the sand and you're just kind of... Mm-hmm. And I go to do a big stroke with my hand, and I trapped it in my armpit, and its tentacles wrapped, of course, in my armpit on my arm, and then around my body, even down to my leg, and stung me with its last little bit of life.
I hate that.
It looked like someone had gotten a knife and just sliced my arm open. It was crazy. And the weirdest part was that it didn't hurt immediately. I don't know if my brain didn't register it.
Panic.
Yes. And I get out of the water and I'm like looking down and my friends are freaking out. And then like some smart ass kid was like, you should pee on it. And then everyone started giggling at the pee. And then all I remember is like a switch went off and then it was excruciating pain. Like excruciating. And my mom was in the middle of a car wash like in Lahaina town. And so it was going to take forever for her to come back. And thankfully, my dad's office was in walking distance. So I was able to just go, like, he met me and then I went to Kaiser. God. But it hurt for hours.
You should have maybe peed on it.
Apparently that wouldn't have worked.
Or had someone pee on it. Oh, really?
Apparently my dad got white vinegar from like an ABC store and that's what helped it. But
interesting.
I was in excruciating pain and then until the doctors were like able to numb the area. It was so bad. It hurt so bad. And I'm like 13 just crying, holding
freaking out. I only got stung. There was like, you know how they like shed or they have like little babies sometimes?
Oh, all the little tinies.
Yeah,
jellies.
I was at Airport Beach and I was like snorkeling and I saw these tiny little things in the water and I swam through them because I was like,
what is this? Whatever.
And they just little mini stings everywhere. It was crazy.
I did that off of we did like a snorkel cruise outside of Lahaina. And
it happened.
And it had all the babies.
That is.
It's like a school of jellies, I think. They're like the tiny ones.
I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I remember like reading that somewhere like they shed or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Super weird. But anyway, that's my only experience. But that sounds traumatizing.
Well, I was so bad. The Portuguese Man War was by far the worst. Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely. Painful. Do not want that to happen.
I was scarred for like there was scars that I took a couple of years to heal because it really looked like someone took a knife and just sliced me up. And I had them down my back to my leg. I have a photo of me it's the worst photo ever. So I will place it in.
Yes.
Dear listener, you're welcome that I'm willing to share this because it is not flattering. It is.
I don't think I've actually seen this. So I'm excited.
Well, it was lost to time. And then apparently my dad had sent a photo to the family. Like as like a family, guess what we've been up to this summer? And then it was just me like this.
Just
with
not
a little,
stoked.
I remember like, oh, girl, this photo is awful. It literally, I put a fake flower in my hair, very Hawaii, very kid that grew up in Hawaii, because my dad's like, I gotta take this. And I'm like, hold on, like quick flower in the hair. Cool. Yeah, quick flower in the hair. And I'm just doing this and it's like from this angle up. And I'm just like,
thanks, Dad.
my hair. But a family member had found it recently and sent it to me. And so that's how
perfect timing.
It really worked out. I mean, this is a couple of years ago, but seriously, the fact that we have it for this podcast.
I love it.
But I just remember like with the small jellies, I was so mad because I was it was a bachelorette party.
Oh.
And they took us on like a little, it was like a little snorkel bachelorette.
Cruise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they dropped us off in the middle of a bunch of jellyfish. And I'm like, what in the...
Solid. Thanks, guys.
Oh, ridiculous. Anyway.
Well, let's hope they're not in the sky.
Oh, God. Okay, but you know how some people... Okay, I should probably save this for the end. No, I'm going to forget.
No, do it now.
You know how some people think they're allergic to, like, electricity and, like, they have weird things? Like... If you were to play into this, like, you could really put all of that into sky creatures.
Attracting the sky creatures.
Yes. Oh, my gosh.
Could be.
I can't believe I'm even coming up with things for this.
Listen, we're not done yet. You don't know.
Okay, sorry.
This might be your number one theory.
Sorry, Sky Lobsters, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Number 9, physical traces and tracks. Swarms of sky organisms should leave physical evidence of their bodies and movements. A variety of physical evidence seems to show such tracks and traces. Organic gelatinous material regularly falls in showers the planet. They're called glowing meteors or rot of the stars. They're described as following glowing blobs. In 1994, countless gelatinous blobs, biological in origin, rained upon a small town in Washington state, sickening people and animals. Hello, meat shower.
Seriously. But that sounds like that one bacteria they're talking about.
Right? Yeah, it probably is. Probably was that. Sometimes what may be excretions drop in the sky, body parts, flakes of flesh, and rains of blood. Some UFOs shed strange filaments called angel hair. This material naturally resembles jellyfish tentacles. It usually sublimates quickly. Chemical analysis of a few samples has found the same minerals found in marine jellyfish. That is interesting. Like there's samples of the UFO angel hair. Does give me tentacle vibes.
That is kind of fun.
Finally, we have likely habitats. The atmosphere is an incredibly varied habitat. Evidence of aerial life seems to be found in likely resource-rich habitats in the sky at almost every level. UFOs are reported entering, leaving, and spending time around water. That is true. John Keel produced a map of UFO sightings during a bizarre flap in 1966, showing how they concentrated around lakes and rivers. I mean, that's definitely something that I've heard too, is there's a lot of like correlation between the ocean and UFOs for some reason.
Yeah, so. I have heard that too. I mean, my new theory is that they are why not be masters of water and air? Like, what if they're just like, they could do both and they just, you know how you hear those UFO stories where they like plunge into the water and disappear? Yeah. Like, that's a fun creature for me.
Well, like, what if they come from a water-based planet?
Ooh, that's fun.
You know, I don't know. If the atmosphere is like the ocean, crevices in the bottom might provide shelter for organisms. We find mystery lights, spook lights, and ghost lights near caves, springs, faults, and other geological features. If organisms from tiny to enormous really do move in our atmosphere, wouldn't astronauts have seen evidence of them? They have, from almost the first missions to the present. Some of the best evidence comes from NASA pioneering space flights. During John Glenn's first Earth orbit in 1962, he approached sunrise and entered a cloud of thousands of glowing particles. He said they looked like fireflies changing direction and providing the biggest surprise of the flight.
So you have like astronauts also being like, no, we've seen this.
Yeah,
and this
there's
is a part
something
of this.
out there. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the vibe. There's definitely more on this whole article if you want to get into it. They go into like freshwater jellyfish and here's like the falls of fish. And then like they even like something about the pyramids in Mexico. And then it's like, are they extraterrestrial? Then they're apparently from different planets. There's a lot that they go into, and they actually have new evidence from like 2015 and stuff. So, and then like they end the article with like, are you ready? I'm not ready. I'm not ready yet. I don't know. I just think it's weird. I don't know how to feel about it. I think I can see where they're drawing parallels, but from my own experience with UFOs, they're definitely like not an organic material.
It's like a craft. No,
it's a craft.
It's like a fun thought experiment. Like, that's what it's kind of giving me. Like, you know, when it's like, okay, we don't really understand so much of the ocean. What if we don't understand so much of the air? And I'm like, well, that's kind of fun. Like, who doesn't love, like, a creature or, like, a space we haven't explored? Like, It's definitely, like... It's given far conspiracy side of things.
Flat Earth.
But it's fun. Like, it's a fun idea. Like, I like the. I mean, whoever put this together really spent a lot of time, like, you know, connecting the dots. No,
this is just one page on the website. Ooh. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. I think there's like a following to it too, and there's a lot of like different stories of people experiencing living creatures in the sky.
I believe it, and we'll of course like link the article too if anyone is interested 100%. In it. But that's crazy. So Taylor, what they have an Instagram but no posts yet.
They're slacking.
So what do you think? What are your final thoughts on
I think like listen, here's the thing. If you look at like it's probably a thing in other planets. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem out of like I don't know. It's a very giving like what is that show on Netflix? It's like about the aliens and it's like totally like dramatized creatures and other shit. I forget what it's called, but there's this Netflix thing where like they like show what might look like on other planets and it's like kind of like mind-boggling. Could be. Is it on our planet? I've never personally been stung by an air jellyfish, you know what I mean? So I think we're in the clear.
We laugh now until we are stung by something.
You know?
That's wild.
I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's just fun. Like, I think it's so silly. Yeah. I don't mean to like fully discredit this page by any means, but it's like a fun idea.
It's like, very like,
because like, what would happen if there was like a flock of birds? Like, we have too many things that are already in the sky that I feel like.
Yeah, wouldn't the planes start running
like
into the jellyfish?
Yeah, we have
and
so much stuff in our atmosphere and our sky. Like, it just doesn't, the math does not compute. It's
not math.
It's not math then, but it's fun. I think there's a weird, like, being kids from Hawaii and being around the ocean a lot, that it's like, sky jellyfish sounds so fun and kind of cute. And I love the parallels to Nope, like the movie, like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, okay, this totally makes sense where they draw like this inspiration. Because I think I assumed they were drawing inspiration from just like aliens or other dimensions, but it's like, no, if you really think about the sky being alive and like creatures of the sky mimicking more of the ocean creatures, like it's a fun idea. It's just fun.
think it's like a scary thought, and I feel like that this article is gonna be kind of like prepping you for that. Like, oh, have you thought about that?
It's
like,
so true. I'm kind of surprised I have never heard this before.
Yeah, I heard it on one podcast, and it was the sky whale phenomenon. Like, people think there's full-on whales in the sky.
Incredible.
It's interesting. That's why it's like general weird. It's definitely weird. It's definitely giving me, it was almost conspiracy, but I think it's just too weird. It's not fully built out into a conspiracy yet.
For sure. I think that's a great one. Well, my topic today is kind of similar in some ways, of like talking about other dimensions and what that might look like.
I love it. Let's hear it.
So I kind of take it back. I had so much fun doing the fake cities, and a lot of people gave me feedback on that one. I don't know why that one kind of like stuck out to people. I even had David's mom had reached out, and she listens. Hi.
Cute.
She's the best. She was talking about how you and I need to like try and go on a road trip to find the fake cities. And I was like, I'm so down.
100%.
We got it. How great does that sound? So I wanted to do another Reddit story that kind of has that creepypasta feel.
Okay.
But this is from the subreddit Glitch in the Matrix. So today I'm bringing the legend of the Lamp Man.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
So this was shared over 10 years ago, but it's had a bit of a resurgence thanks to TikTok. So let's just start with the story.
Okay.
My last semester at a certain college, I was assaulted by a football player for walking where he was trying to drive. Note, he was 325 pounds and I was only 120. While unconscious on the ground, I lived a different life. I met a wonderful young lady. She made my heart skip and my face red. I pursued her for months and dispatched a few jerk boyfriends before I finally won her over. After 2 years, we got married, and almost immediately we got pregnant and had our daughter. I had a great job, and my wife didn't have to work outside of the house. 2 years later, we were pregnant again, this time with a boy. My son was the joy of my life. I would walk into his room every morning before I left for work and doted on him and my daughter. One day, while sitting on the couch, I noticed that the perspective of the lamp was odd, like inverted. It was still in 3D, but just wrong. It was a square lamp base, red with gold trim on 4 legs, and a white square shade. I was transfixed. I couldn't look away from it. I stayed up all night staring at it. The next morning, I didn't go to work. Something was just not right about that lamp. I stopped eating. I left the couch only to use the bathroom at first. Soon, I stopped that too, as I wasn't eating or drinking. I stared at that fucking lamp for 3 days before my wife got really worried. She had someone come and try and talk to me. By this time, my cognizance was breaking up and my wife was freaking out. She took the kids to her mother's house just before I had an epiphany. The lamp is not real. The house, not real. My wife, my kids, nothing is real. The last 10 years of my life are not fucking real. The lamp started to grow wider and deeper. It was still inverted dimensions. It took up my entire perspective, and all I could see was red. I heard voices, screams, all kinds of weird noises, and I became aware of pain. A fucking shit ton of pain. The first words I said were, "I'm missing my teeth," and I opened my eyes. I was laying on my back on the sidewalk, surrounded by people that I didn't know, all freaking out, and I was completely confused. At some point, a cop scooped me up, dragged me across the sidewalk, and threw me face down in the back of his cop car. I was still very confused. I was taken to the hospital by the cop. It seems like he didn't want to wait for the ambulance to arrive. and I was given CT scans and shit. I went through about 3 years of horrid depression. I was grieving the loss of my wife and children and dealing with the knowledge that they never existed. I was scared I was going insane as I would cry myself to sleep hoping I would see my wife in my dreams. I never have, but sometimes I see my son, usually just a glimpse out of my peripheral vision. He is perpetually 5 years old, and I can never hear what he says.
That is so fucking weird.
Welcome to the general weird episode.
For real. But like, and part of me was like, okay. Well, also too, like, it's weird that when you dream, it seems like it could be like a whole day and it was just like, or you'll like nap and it'll seem like hours, but it was just like a tiny bit of time. So maybe his brain just went way into that mode. But I can't imagine like 10 years of his life.
10 years of his life is what he experienced.
That's crazy. That's weird.
And something to note, this post was actually a comment that was left on a larger post that read, "Have you ever felt a deep personal connection to a person you met in a dream only to wake up feeling terrible because you realized they never existed?"
That dude was doing some Reddit searches and then he came across and he's like, well, let me tell you.
He's like, actually, I miss my wife and now here's this story.
That's crazy.
And I was like a little devastated because I was like, okay, I need this post. But the person, the original poster of deleted the post that he then commented on, deleted it. So I was like, oh, I want to know.
They're probably like too much.
Like, opened up this, close that door real quick.
For real.
So obviously the same way we're having very like big reactions, Reddit users also immediately like flocked to this comment.
For sure.
And begged the OP to post more and maybe do like an AMA. And he declined doing the AMA because he felt like that was all he had to say. But he stood behind that he felt like we didn't know enough about traumatic brain injuries to explain what really happened to him.
Yeah, it's valid.
And as his story rose in popularity, similar stories, of course, were posted, including this one from a man about his experience in a coma.
Okay.
So here's his story. Christmas Day 2017. I was induced into a coma for 14 days due to pneumonia and sepsis. I was in the hospital for a total of 40 days. At 35 years old, I had to learn to walk, talk, and eat all over again. It was very humbling. There's 3 things he wants to talk about. So first, the 2 weeks I was in a coma felt to me like 20 years. I lived a whole other life while I was under. So much so that when I was finally brought back to this world, realm, dimension, or whatever you want to call it, I was actually sad I was awake. I was sad I didn't get to see how my other life there played out. I literally missed it, the people, the experiences I had there, the things I had learned. In fact, it felt so real to me. I felt feelings of things there, some physical, mostly emotional, and I feel them very strongly now to this day. So strongly that remembering other feelings I had in this life doesn't feel as the emotions in the one I had in the coma world. It feels like my consciousness, spirit, soul, packed and just went to another world just like this one and picked up a life there to start living. It still blows my mind to just recall the place. Second, it's weird, but I now know how to do things I learned there, here. Things I have never even thought to do myself before. For example, months after I was out, my fiance's air conditioning went out at her house, and before I would have called someone to fix it and never attempted to look at the problem myself, but something in me remembered that I can fix the problem. I looked at it and just knew it was a bad fuse, found the secondary fuse box, took the fuse out, went to Home Depot and got a new one, went home, popped it in, and bam, fixed. I had a similar story with my neighbor's lawnmower and my car, so that's eerie. Thirdly, I say it was a world just like this one, but it had its tiny, odd differences. Honestly, I would probably not even notice anything was odd at all, and the only reason I probably did was because I've lived in this world my whole life. Things like the way the clouds and sky looked or the way the towns or buildings looked. Small differences, but enough to make me question it. So that's the end of his post.
It's kind of giving me like parallel universe vibes. Like I think that's what he's alluding to.
Yes, and I'm about to get into it.
Okay.
Spot on where my brain went. So based on all these stories, one theory seems to be the most popular, that these brain injuries are causing people to travel and live out their lives in
parallel universes.
Woohoo! So, do parallel universes even exist? Well, that's up to who you ask, but many scientific theories have popped up in recent years trying to prove the multiverse. One of those theories, the theory of eternal inflation, states that the Big Bang is ongoing, so it's constantly creating more and more universes and forever expanding.
Okay, I have heard of like the universe continuing to expand, but my mind, just where we are in this economy, the internal inflation triggered me. You're like, no, knock it off.
No, this is a different kind of inflation. This is
but
the
it's
universe.
True. It probably is internal, or like, what is it? Internal
Eternal inflation.
Eternal. Mm-hmm. Eternal inflation is definitely going to be happening anyway.
Yes, yes. The world, well, maybe you can time travel. We'll get into it.
Okay.
So basically what it's saying is that we're in a bubble that has a start and an end. But at these points are the endings and beginnings of other bubbles. So theoretically, if you were closer to one of these points, or the beginning, wherever you are in that bubble, it's easier to travel to another bubble than to time travel within your own bubble.
Right.
So it'd be easier to go to another universe instead of trying to
back.
Yeah. Because it's just such a big space. And so I loved that. I was like, wow, that's so crazy. And as much as I love the idea of like traveling to another universe, like all in all, I really do think it's our brains, because although they're very fragile, they're capable of imagining such worlds like all within our own heads. Yeah. And there is research that when humans are near death, the brain spikes in neural activity, and we still don't really understand what's going on. But if you talk to people with near-death experiences that have witnessed a heaven, another world, inner peace, seeing family members, you can't help but think like that's more the correlation.
Yeah.
And also people who've done DMT, not sponsored, not saying it's a good idea to do DMT, but with people on DMT with their hallucinations, there's actually research that when people take DMT, it tricks the brain to also thinking they're near death. So it has the same spike. So there's definitely so much to explore there, and we obviously have so much to learn about the brain, but that's what I got today.
Do you know what's crazy is like all this can just be like our brains just being too much for us to comprehend. It's just, then it goes into the whole theory of like, are you even perceiving reality, or is your brain creating a reality for you? And like, what does that even mean?
Yes, like how we all perceive, like even down to colors, like
just anything in front of you. It's just little electrical things that are going, like, we're
all processing it individually. I think that's the craziest. I love it. I mean, I think I love these stories. I love a little creepypasta. I love the idea. I mean, I feel like in pop culture, the multiverse is so popular. Like people love the idea of being able to travel. And I feel like there's just something fun about.
There's like escapism in there.
Yes, absolutely. But I really do think sometimes it does an injustice to just how powerful our brains are and how much we don't even understand our brain.
100%.
And like, there's so much to be said about those kinds of, especially like in these stories, like granted, they could be all make believe and just on Reddit. But if this guy really had a traumatic brain injury and then imagine 10 years in his head, like, yeah, your brain spiked because you almost died. It's trying to pump all the things. There was even a study, I can't remember where I saw it, so don't quote me on it, but like your brain is still conscious after your heart stops for a certain amount of time. And like whatever happens in that time, they still don't understand. So there's just so much to the brain. Oh, also, final note, be careful with traumatic brain injuries. Take that really seriously. Avoid maybe some contact sports if you have too many concussions.
No, that's a thing. Yeah, it's a no. You don't want to go into a parallel universe and have to leave your family.
For real, you don't want to get knocked out so hard that you live another life that then you come back and then you mourn the fake family you had. Avoid. Dude. Avoid.
His current girlfriend was probably pissed. Is that considered cheating?
I know. Well, the other guy like came back and he was like, "Oh, like I missed my other life, but then I have a fiance clearly waiting for me in this."
I caught that, and I was like, "Is she just like whatever?" Like
she's like, "Okay, cool. You don't want to be here, but sorry that you're back here."
Like, right? I'd be like, this is the best universe. Sir.
How dare you?
If you
How dare you?
I'm gonna knock your ass back out so you can go back to that universe.
That's so funny. That's so true. That's hilarious. Well, that's it for the day.
Damn. Well, we've got sky creatures and we've got parallel universes. It's definitely getting weird in here.
It's definitely getting and connecting all of our previous episodes. Season 2's coming in hot, connecting season 1.
Always.
Well, thank you all.
It's going to continue.
Oh, for real. It's going to be forever quoting back.
Our seasons are going to be their own little parallel universes. And they all connect.
It's so true. But you can time travel and you can listen back if you needed to.
That's so true. You can just pick which journey you want to be on.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Sky creatures and parallel universes. Chef's kiss.
Goodness. All right, well, we'll see you guys next time for something not as weird.
Yes, a little. Well, it's always a little weird.
It'll probably be still weird. It'll probably definitely be still weird. I think the whole podcast is generally
weird. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you guys all for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.